everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Die. It is time for your news roundup. Although this week, not a whole lot of news really to speak of. I was really scouring a lot of the websites, even going to Reddit and checking the Army Reddit, and everybody seems to be fairly normal at the moment. There's some stories about PT tests. There's some stories about mold in barracks. Interestingly enough, there was a Marine Corps barracks that got shut down because of mold. Somebody went into the showers and took Instagram video of all the mold that was going on in there, and the Marines are like, "Oh, it's a faulty air conditioner." They're always blaming air conditioners. Like every mold problem is blamed on a faulty air conditioner, which very likely could be the source, but like, why is it so faulty to a point where like there's a shitload of mold is the question. Big problems with a lot of these things not being properly maintained. And if you listen to the current Sergeant Major of the Army, that's you, the soldier's fault for not telling them, even though you've been telling them a lot and they're just not listening. We're back to our normal military disconnects. They had a really good Sergeant Major of the Army who was very open and talked to the troops and was like, "No, I want to hear the things that you have to say, and we'll see what we can fix." And now they're back to having one that's just like, "It's your fault because you don't shave enough." Return to tradition, I guess. So I do have one news article, though. This is an interesting one from Jared Keller. No, the U.S. military is not the Rebel Alliance from Star Wars. I don't know why putting a Rebel Alliance flag on a tank is absolutely insane. That is, you are not that group in Star Wars. If anything, you are the evil Imperials, to a point where like people in the Army love to dress up like Imperials. My very first commander in AIT for Halloween dressed up as a stormtrooper during our Halloween run. And I want you to understand that this is literally like 2 months after 9/11 happened. We had a stormtrooper leading our formation in a company run. What was it? Great optics? I'm sure he was a huge nerd, and that's kind of what it came down to. But like, people in the military kind of have a weird fascination of just like, yeah, we should dress up like the bad guys in this, and not really seeing the face of it. There was also an interesting quote in this article about somebody saying like, well, no, because the Rebel Alliance fights against people who are against order in the galaxy. It's like, there's literally the Imperials. Literally, the Imperials thing is order in the galaxy through violence. You don't get to call yourself the Rebel Alliance when you're fighting actual rebels somewhere. Like you're not, that doesn't work. And look, if you want to put shit up on your tanks and flags and like that, whatever, fine. I understand. There's a lot of nerds. Maybe it should have been better, like with a Naruto guy on it, or maybe a Dragon Ball Z one. Perhaps there's not anime fans in this tank. I don't know. But it is a weird. It's a weird like disconnect and misunderstanding of who the bad guys in Star Wars are versus who the bad guys are outside of Star Wars. Nobody wants to see themselves as the bad guys, right? Like everybody wants to say, "No, I'm the good guys. They're the terrorists." Guess what? The rebels were terrorists, but because we like them, they're freedom fighters. All right, so that's really all the news stuff that I had. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump into media because I have I got a couple of good things this week. So I have read this book before. This is called American War by Omar El Akkad, and it takes place in 2070 something, and it's a book that takes place over a period of probably about 15-20 years. About a new civil war, and it's very reminiscent of the first Civil War because it is the South versus the North, and it's very also like, of all the technological advances that we have currently, like in our military, a lot of that stuff is kind of wiped away due to a lot of climate change and global warming and things like that. Like, there's nobody who's strong in the Americas anymore. It has kind of become a group that's collapsed on itself with a lot of interstate squabbling and things like that. It's a very good book. This is the second time I'm reading through it. And the second time, I'm getting kind of more, I'm understanding a little bit more of it. Kind of like and I hate to bring up young adult books, but, in the Hunger Games, if you haven't read that, Katniss is being, manipulated by one side or the other. Either way, she's just a pawn being pushed around. And you don't really get the sense of that because you're getting her inside, inside of her brain and things that she's dealing with. Same thing inside of American War. It has somebody who we're following who is kind of getting fucked by every side all over the place, and she's just very angry about it eventually. So I highly recommend this book. It's a very quick read. It's been out for a while. And Omar was a journalist, and this is like the first book that he wrote. It's really well done. There's some really interesting military technology that they have in there. The birds, I'm not going to spoil anything, but when they talk about the birds in the air, it's just a very something that I wouldn't have considered, but when you're having this technological leap, 50 years in the future from where we're at, but still very face-to-face combat. There's not really tanks and artillery and the things you would find in conventional wars now. It is very guerrilla warfare, and really you don't know because you're only seeing it from one person's perspective. It doesn't go out onto the major battlefields or anything. So highly recommend. Pick it up. You got to get it in the library. It's a good piece of fiction if you're looking for something that is fiction but military, but not necessarily sci-fi. I don't know. I don't think this really counts as science fiction, even though it is in the future and there are some technological leaps. There's not really that many. It's not. There's not spaceships fighting each other all over the place. So, and I watched 2 movies. I went to watch Godzilla -1. I will probably be doing a longer episode with somebody. I reached out to somebody who I know really loves Godzilla movies and loved this movie. I thought it was fine. Godzilla movies are generally about the people, and some Godzilla movies are more people-y than other ones are, and this one was very people-ish. There was a lot of people and not a lot of giant monster doing giant monster shit, but it's still a very good movie. It's got a lot of heart to it. I'm glad that I went and watched it in theaters because it's a Godzilla movie. You want to see Godzilla up on the big screen. Godzilla himself, though, monster-wise, I don't know, not super impressive, but again, it's not meant to be that. I went in there with different expectations, so I'm not going to hold the movie accountable for what I thought it would be and versus what it was. It was a very good movie, and if you like Godzilla movies, you should definitely see it. But also, if you like, I'm trying to watch more foreign movies. There's I really like Korean horror movies because Korean horror is not necessarily, what if there was a guy who, had knife fingers? It's more of what if everything collapsed, and you found out the most scary thing is the person next to you, and how all that shit breaks down. There's a movie that's coming out called Concrete Utopia that I've seen trailers for that I'm kind of, excited, and nervous to watch because it looks very very gritty and very harrowing, but it also looks really good. So I will probably be watching that at some point. Probably not in theaters. I'll wait for that one to come out. But I think I can't remember if Squid Game was Korean or not. I believe it was. So Korean horror has kind of a different taste to it. Japanese horror also. The Japanese do a great Godzilla movie. I need to catch back up with the Monarch show, I guess. I'm not really into it. The American Godzilla movies are pretty fun because as an American, I want, Godzilla versus Kong, big lizard punching, giant monkey, and vice versa. That's all I wanted out of it, and that's what I got. The Monarch Extended Universe, I don't know really if that's going all that well or not. I think it's fine, but I also don't, it's not the old Godzillas. It's not Shin Godzilla. It's not, there's a lot of, when Godzilla's made by Americans versus made by Japanese, there's a different message and a different tone and a different feel to it. So I enjoy both sides of it. So Godzilla -1, good movie. Probably not going to watch it again though. If I'm going to go back and watch another modern Godzilla movie, I am due for a Shin Godzilla rewatch at some point. That one, I remember that one being a lot of fun because you have Godzilla evolving the entire time. So he's just like kind of starts out like a gross worm and then turns into the Godzilla that we know and love. All right, and then finally, I'm going to have another episode for this coming out probably next week. The Battle at Lake Changjin. This is a Chinese propaganda movie that was created in 2021 about the, as we call it, the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, where 30,000 soldiers, American soldiers, were pitted up against 120,000 Chinese soldiers. And the Americans lost, but, that's not really on them. They were outnumbered by quite a lot. So this is a very propaganda movie. It is not... It takes some liberties, and it's very much into the Chinese side of everything, which is fine. I've watched plenty of very propaganda-ish movies that were made by Americans, and it's fine as long as you go into it knowing that. Like I didn't expect yes, I'm going to learn some historical background. Of course not. What I was there for was to watch shit blow up, and this movie has a lot of shit blowing up. It is very they got Chinese Michael Bay. They dumped a lot of money into it. They blow up so many deuce and a halves. There's so many Sherman tanks that I don't know where they got them from because they're using practical effects. Like not everything is CGI. There's a little CGI definitely, but the CGI is very obvious. I don't know if they just don't have the CGI people that we have. So they're like, fuck it, just build a bunch of structures and then run tanks through it and have everything blow up. So we'll see. There's a sequel to it that I'm looking forward to as well. But like I said, we've got a longer one coming out, a longer episode coming out about this, where we dive deeper into it. It is a good movie. If you want to watch more foreign movies and you want to watch a foreign war movie, I would highly suggest this because one, it has a lot of heart in it. It follows two brothers into war. So there's a lot of back and forth. The Chinese soldiers are very they're you expect it to be this and then we did stoic shit and then we did stoic shit more. No, they're fucking around. They're having fun. They're joking with each other. They're they are soldiers. They are the soldiers that I as a soldier I recognize this. I recognize those people who are fucking around and having fun and kind of fighting each other but kind of not. And it has a lot of that. It has a lot of really great fight scenes in it. A lot of really great battle scenes. There's two major battle scenes in it that both are very, very well done. When I say well done, I mean that they have a lot of great explosions, a lot of great action sequences and things like that. So like I said, as long as you go into it without, understanding that this is not a historical document, which you should walk into any movie like that. Certainly when we watched Napoleon, I was I'm going to learn so much about Napoleon. I didn't learn shit about Napoleon. I learned that Joaquin Phoenix loves to play a weird little guy. That's about it. And, doesn't make it a bad movie. But so I got this off of pirate sites. I feel like with the amount of IP theft that China does to Americans, this is the one time that you are fully justified in pirating off the internet. It is in Chinese. The one that I found has a lot of had subtitles, but there's also a lot of American actors in there, which is very interesting. But anyway, I'm not going to go too far into it. Like I said, we got a whole episode coming out where we talk about all of these guys and the movie as a whole. So check those things out. I'll have links to the stuff that you can get. I'm not going to put a pirate site link into YouTube. Lord knows how that's going to get flagged, but go find that if you're interested in it. Okay, so this is a segment that I have not done in a little bit, but if you ever want to ask a Hey Dad question, jump into the Discord. If you are a member of our Patreon or the Lions Led by Donkeys Patreon, they're all in the same one. You can give $1 a month and you'll have access to that. If you're looking for a new community and you're really fine with Discord, I know not everybody is, but Joe always asks his questions from the Legion in there. I try to ask my my Hey Dad questions in there. So I asked I asked that, and here's some of the questions we're going to go through. Now, one of them, and a couple of people asked about this, was about potty training and how to potty train. I will give you some of what worked for us and what didn't work for us. We read a lot of books. But the thing is every kid is going to be different. And a lot of the books made it sound like, oh, you do this, that, and the other thing, and your kid will be potty trained in like 10 days. That doesn't happen. Keep that in mind, that like you will probably be dealing with pee and poop for a while still, even after the kid is kind of comfortable with going to the bathroom. So, because again, every child is different. Our daughter kind of went through a period where like she doesn't really feel she didn't feel like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. My body, her body wasn't telling her that. So sometimes there would be accidents. That doesn't happen anymore. She's 8. Not to dime my daughter out like that, but just, for a period of time, because we started potty training her when she was 3, I believe, 3 or 4. I can't fully remember, but around the age that all the books tell you to start potty training. So some of the things that we did was, one, we had like a little kid toilet that was next to our toilet. And one thing we would know is just like, okay, we've gotten her to drink a lot of juice and a lot of water or something, and we just kind of need her to sit down on the toilet. So what I would do is, because she was really into Frozen, as most little girls were at the time. So I'd give her my phone. I would put Queen Elsa, or Princess Elsa at the time, singing "Let It Go," and she would sit there, and there were videos of her, we get it from outside of the bathroom, but she'd be in there, sitting on the toilet, holding the phone, singing "Let It Go" at the top of her lungs. And sometimes she peed, sometimes she didn't. The thing is that like it's gonna take time for a kid to associate. I need to evacuate my poo, my pee. I need to do something here. I go to a toilet to do that. With a 3-year-old, it's hard to logic that for a kid. So just keep that in mind. One thing you always got to keep in mind when you're raising a kid, like even my daughter at the age of 8, I can logic with her. I can explain things to her. She can explain things to me. That helps out very much. But she's still 8, there's still a lot of brain development that needs to happen here. So just keep at it. If something doesn't work, feel free to get rid of it and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. We're going to try something else. Find what works for you and understand it's going to be a process, and get a mop. Hopefully you have hardwood floors. We had hardwood everywhere, and it made it really easy to kind of mop things up. I noticed another thing, you just, also notice the triggers. I know if my kid is like, oh, I can't poop, like, go take a bath. Take a bath, that always helps out. I found this out by the many times she pooped in the bathtub when she was, 2 and 3 years old. So, find the things and kind of keep them in mind. If you need to keep stuff, you need to write stuff down, it's fine. I have always, the military has always made me very aware of my outputs. Like, I do not take a leak without assessing my hydration level. Like, I've never peed and not just been like, ooh, I need to drink water, or all right, I'm drinking enough water. That light yellow, mostly clear. All right, cool. I'm good here. Like, oh, I'm peeing, and it's kind of a little bit more neon than I like it to be. Same thing with pooping. I know when I don't have solid shit, I'm a little alarmed by it. And it's like, okay, what have I done? What do I need to do? How do I rectify this? And it's not like I suddenly have cancer. It's probably because I had a beer the night before and I'm 40 and wheat, fucks up my insides. But so that's potty training. I can't give you like here's exactly how to do everything and make it all right, because it's never going to work that way. But the thing, like one thing that we were kind of worried about was like our daughter was never like, she was slept in our bed. And we're worried, like, is she always going to be sleeping in our bed? We want to not have a child in our bed sometimes, and one of the pediatricians or one of the doctors is just like, look, your kid's not going to be in high school and still sleeping in your bed. That's not going to happen without like some severe other things going on there. Same thing with your daughter. Your kid is going to learn how to use the bathroom eventually. So don't worry too much about it. But I would say when you are in the potty training process, the pull-ups are really great. Those kind of made our kid feel like, that transition to being a big kid, like, oh, you can take the pants down, pull them back up. But if there's an accident, you're still good. And if you're going anywhere, like once you do transition over to regular underwear, just always keep a set of clean, pants and underwear in your car. If you're a woman who has a purse, or if you're a guy who has like a bag or something like that, keep an extra pair of like some shorts or an underwear on you, and do that for a while. Like we still have extra clothes in there because stuff happens, and that's just the long and the short of it. It's been a long time since I've shit my pants, but sometimes you get real sick and things, you sneeze real hard and things happen. So always have a backup plan is what I'm saying. If not for yourself, then for your kids. Let's see. How do you deal with constant rain and overcast in winter months? So we are in the cold times, the dark times. Thankfully, it's not been very cold here in St. Louis. It's actually very sunny today. It is the 12th of December when I'm recording this. It's very nice outside. It's cold, but but sunny, which always kind of works pretty well for me. So December is when we really lean into Christmas. We have Christmas lights up all over the place, and we like to have lots of lights in the house. And generally, we keep those lights up. Like, our lights are not necessarily Christmas lights. They are winter lights. I have a snowman, but I don't have, like, a Santa Claus and shit like that all over the place. And we do that because we like to have lots of light. So have lots of light around you. And, also you should be cool with being cozy. We have electric fireplaces in our house. I think we got them from Lowe's. You can get it's basically a fancy space heater, but it's, a fireplace mantle. One of them has like shelves on it. The other one is just one that we have our fish tank on. But find things in your house, like that you can have in your house that makes you feel, cozy, I guess. The hygge culture, the Swedes who love to wrap themselves up in, fuzzy stuff during the winter. It makes sense to me, at least, and it works for all of us. I work in my office. I wear normal pants because that's how I get into my, I'm at work. I need to do work, so I have to wear normal pants. I don't wear pajama pants, but when I get into when I'm done with work, I go and I change into pajama pants. If I'm done going out for the day, like if I don't have to take the dog for a walk and we're not going anywhere for the evening, I try to find little things. It's just like, this is how I can be cozy. And also come February, like January is really the only month I have to worry about, because come February, I start planting my gardens. And, when I grow peppers, I like to grow peppers. You have to start pepper seedlings in February to transition them out, because they need a lot of time to kind of start up and germinate and everything. So that's how I deal with it. If you don't have a garden, find something in spring to look forward to, but find something to look forward to, because then like those months don't seem so bad. Like as soon as you're like, okay, well, I always know January is gonna probably be my worst month. But if we get a lot of snow during January, I like the snow. I like I have a kid that I go do snowball fights with and everything. Find those things if you can. If you're single, you don't have a kid to throw snowballs at, find friends, find things that you can do at home. I play role-playing games with friends over Discord. I have my many hobbies. I'm getting into painting. I have the store. Like I'm just a busy guy. I have a lot of shit going on. And then by the time you get to the warm days again, you can kind of get ready to go back out. It's a good time to find a hobby, especially an indoor hobby that you might enjoy. Go start painting Warhammer 40K characters or something. I don't know. All right. What's the best way to distract a kid on a long road trip? And this says, I know tablets exist. Mine is too young to hold one without chucking it. So we do, I like to do a lot of road trips. Our last one was down to Branson. I think we're going to go to Springfield, Illinois, because we homeschool, and we just recently did a Abraham Lincoln module. So we're going to go to Springfield, Illinois. They have a whole like Lincoln town there, Lincoln libraries there. We've been there a few times. Springfield also has this really interesting culinary thing called a horseshoe sandwich, which is basically if you take a cheeseburger, but instead of like a brioche bun or what your normal bun, you just have like a burger patty on a piece of bread. And then you put whatever toppings you want on it. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's cheese and whatever burger toppings. Sometimes it's like gravy and stuff. Depends on the horseshoe. And then you throw a bunch of French fries on top of it. It's just a big like hot mess. And you don't find it's one of those culinary delights that like that people in Springfield will defend to the death. Like every restaurant in Springfield, Illinois has a horseshoe sandwich, but you will never find it like outside of Springfield. Because most people are like, that's kind of fucking weird, and I'd just rather eat a normal cheeseburger. And they're like, no, you will open it up and you'll dump a whole bunch of French fries on it. Anyway, keeping the kid distracted. When you're driving somewhere, if you're going, point A to point B, and I don't know about where you are driving to and from, but stop off at places. We try to stop every 90 minutes, and not for like a pee break and grab snacks, but like what is something that we can check out. So our trip down to Branson, Missouri, you go down from St. Louis, you go down Highway 44. Highway 44 is what Route 66 kind of turned into. The old Mother Road is the same direction and everything, but 44 is just the actual highway. So there are still some places you can stop off at. There is, let's see. Going down that way, I know there's Uranus, Missouri, which is outside of Fort Leonard Wood, which is about 3 hours outside of St. Louis. Uranus is great. It's like it's a roadside attraction. The whole point is to be a modern roadside attraction, but that doesn't mean modern as in like it's still not full of kitschy shit. It's just something that like the guy bought the area and was just like, oh, I'm going to put. They have like a freak show. They have a freak show in like not a Barnum and Bailey 1800s kind of thing, but they have like a museum of carnival stuff, and they have a whole fudge factory. You can get fudge from Uranus. They have a mini golf place called the Putt Pirates. Yes, it is one big butt joke, but it's very funny, and it's wholesome in its own way. It's very, apolitical. Like I said, it's right side out of Fort Leonard Wood. We used to call it Porn Town because it used to be like all strip clubs and porno places. And then this guy bought it up and started like turning it into all kinds of other stuff. It's great. They've got like a bluegrass band that you pay like one of those like animatronic ones. You pay $1 and the bluegrass band starts playing. They have the world's largest belt buckle. There was a restaurant that was called Cooking from Scratch that was on 44 that closed, but Cooking from Scratch had a El Camino with a giant chicken in the back of it. So they have Cooking from Scratch. They have that thing in their in their collection. So I really like that. Springfield, Missouri has the largest and the very first Bass Pro Shop. And I know maybe some of you are thinking, why would you want to visit a Bass Pro Shop? Go to one. They're fantastic, and the one there is great. They have an aquarium there, all kinds of great shit. Then outside of Springfield, going down south, there's Smallin Cave, which is a Civil War era. I mean, it's a cave. It's Civil War era, but it was used during the Civil War. There's also on 44. There's Merrimack Caverns. We're big fans of show caves. Merrimack Caverns is probably the most famous one in Missouri. Outside of that, also is the Jesse James Wax Museum, which is better known as the Jesse James is Alive Museum. If you want more on that, go and find the episode I did with Joe on Lions Led by Donkeys regarding Jesse James, because Jesse James is a big Missouri figure. And historically, he's always been very a very central figure in here. And he was a piece of shit Confederate. Like, let's not, this is not glorifying him, but we do love our some Jesse James mythology in Missouri. So and there was a whole thing about how Jesse James didn't die. He wasn't killed by Robert Ford. He lived until into the like 1940s or something. And they have Merrimack Caverns had a guy who they claimed was Jesse James living in the fucking cave. So you could come and meet Jesse James. It's fucking wild. But find places to stop. Maybe places that are going to be interesting for you or the kid. But like you got to get out and do that stuff. And if you're like a dad that's just like, no, we're going to make time. We're going to go from point A to point B as fast as possible. I got nothing for you on that. I don't like doing that myself. I like, because, you know, when one of the other ones we drove to Kansas City, St. Louis to Kansas City is 3.5 hours, you know, if you just stomp on the gas and go. But there's plenty of places to stop off on the way. I'm trying to remember which highway the Buck Snort Saloon was on, but I think that's on 44. It's a 1890s saloon that has been refurbished, and then like every Saturday, people just dress up as 1890s people. There's a chuck wagon and everything, and you can just go visit. And these guys are just hanging out, dressed in period garb. And if you have questions to ask about, you know, the times back then, you can ask them. That town also has a telephone museum. When we went to it was great. Last time we were there, the telephone museum was locked. And we're like, oh, it says that it's going to be open at noon. And it was like 12:30. So we walk over to the Buck Snort and we're like, oh, we wanted to check that out. And one of the guys is like, oh yeah, let me go unlock it. And they just unlock the door. It's like, yeah, you can wander around inside the telephone museum if you want. So I'm a sucker for a very specific museum, especially ones that are just a guy's collection. The hoarder mentality, can be kind of dangerous, but if you're a hoarder who is just like, I collect all this shit, would you like to take a look at it? That's the kind of, I'm into that stuff. So that's my suggestion. Stop off, find places when you're going from point A to point B, find, you know, some spots to stop and say, we're going to check this place out, check that place out, because every town has something. There's a lot of world's largest all over the country. Find a world's largest and stop off there. We have the world's largest cup, like a styrofoam cup, but it's not styrofoam. The world's largest like drink cup that you can get from a gas station. I don't know about that one. We have the second largest rocking chair. Over in Illinois is the largest catsup bottle, CATSUP specifically. There's at least one world's largest ball of twine in Missouri, I think down in Branson. There are 4 world's largest balls of twine. They all have different specifications. One's a specific kind of twine, one's the heaviest, one's the largest, and one is the I think 2 of them are world's largest of different materials. I don't know. I have to look it up. But there are multiple world's largest balls of twine. So find a place to stop. Find a place to check it out, and you're gonna find that you will probably love your state a little bit more. Like for all of Missouri's faults, for all of our political nonsense. And trust me, I remember we used to be a purple state once upon a time. We did not used to be so fucking super majority red. And yes, sometimes the people can be very stupid and have very bad opinions about things. But what's more important, though, is that they are good people and they're trying to do their best, it seems, sometimes. And you can find a lot of really cool, like, just small town culture out there. And I'm a big fan of that. I like to find the little restaurants. I like to find the little diners. I like to talk to people who live in these small rural areas because they all have a story. So find those people. Find your sideshows. Find the little spots to stop off. Find the weird museums. There's plenty of websites that track all of that stuff, but also you can just say point A to point B. Here's 3 towns. I'm going to search, let me Google search those towns and see what they got going on in them. And you're going to find a lot of stuff. Every town has some cool stuff going on. So that's my suggestion there. So that's the dad questions I'm covering. If like I said, if you want to ask questions, you can always DM me at ArmyStrang on Twitter. You can, like I said, get into the Discord as well and do that. I'm going to try to do these a little bit more often. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions and they don't know where necessarily to go. And I know a lot of times what you just need is you need somebody to tell you it's okay to not know. I've gone through a lot of things. I went through the army. I went through war. I went through raising a child. I went through, everything, and I'm still going through it just like the rest of you. And I am here to tell you that it's okay to not know what's going on, and it's okay to be confused and worried, because we all are. But don't worry too much, because we're all there with you, and it's not just you. And I know that like maybe that doesn't like make the worry go completely away, but knowing that we're all kind of in the same situation at times, I know that can help out. So let's go ahead and move on to our last segment here. Okay, so that's going to do it. But I am going to give you guys a little bit of a tour through the store, because this Friday, the 15th of December, that's going to be my shipping cutoff for Christmas. USPS says Monday. I am giving myself a little bit of grace time. If you order on, I always do orders Sunday night to get stuff into the mail on Monday. So if you do get stuff in over the weekend, maybe it'll come, might come in time. I don't know. Like I said, I'm putting my shipping cutoff time for anybody in the United States, for anything to arrive before Christmas on the 15th. So if you've been like, oh, what do you have? Because I don't really go too deep into it on the podcast. Sometimes I just have one or two things that I showcase. So we're going to have a couple things. For those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, I will do my best to describe what I have going on here. So our first one is my wife makes these Yip Martian bags. For those of you who did not grow up watching Sesame Street, look up Yip Martians. You'll find videos of them. They're from the 1970s was the original one. So these are bags, not hats. Everybody wants to think that they're hats. Not sure why, but as you can see, we have a box of Kleenex in one of them. They're great if you have a bunch of plastic bags. You need a bag for your bags. We have one hanging up in our car that's just a place for like little paper trash and stuff like that. They're a fun gift. You can use them as a stocking. We sold many of these, and like I said, my wife hand makes these, so they're not something that you can get anywhere else. There are other people who sell similar online. Ours are the best. Just because my wife has been crocheting for years and she knows how to tweak and change things and get something to where she really likes it. So they have little hanging loops on them. You can hang them up anywhere. They're great. If you don't like them in the normal colors, we do have a handful of tactical ones. She came across this yarn that was kind of a mottled, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. The new OCP or whatever military pattern. So we still have some of these. If you're military minded, you want something that maybe you can hang up in your office on the base, but without it being like too, you want it a little bit silly, but you've got to keep it somewhat military. We've got some tactical ones in there too. So take a look at those if you're looking for them. All right, some other things that we've got. One of our more popular stickers that we have. I also generally have these as buttons. I'm going to try to make a shitload of buttons before the end of the week as well. This is the Back the Blue with a USPS Postal Service struck on it. This is one of our more popular designs that we have. I always have plenty of these stickers around. If you've always wondered, like, I should maybe give my mail handler a gift of some kind, this is a perfect one. You should be backing your postage service, because goddamn, like what an organization that can, like, for at this point it's like 65 cents, but like I can slap 65 cents on a piece of paper and send it anywhere in the United States and it'll get there in a couple of days. That is some pretty fucking great logistics. So we're big supporters of our postal service, especially since our postal carrier is constantly picking shit up from our house to mail out to all of you beautiful people. We have like a little, we keep a cooler outside that has snacks and water. And so anybody who's delivering stuff, and we even tell them, it's like, hey, if you're on the street and even if you're not coming to our house, eventually you will. So feel free to come up and grab something. So we try to take care of the people who take care of us. So the Carlton Gustav penny farthing ops, this is our latest design. This is a He's got the Carl Gustav rocket launcher. This is kind of a mix between, the old and the new. We love a good bike core, but they didn't really, the bicycle infantry did not get to last very long. Sadly, it got taken over by motorcycles because some people don't want to work anymore, and that means pedaling, I guess. But we have this as a sticker and as a patch. What else we got here? Soviet pins. So, I have always been talking about the pins that we get. This is one of my favorite things to do is order a big bag of pins from Ukraine, and they show up, and I go through them, and I find ones that I really like, and I start making little groupings of them. And so I have bags of curated pins that have 4 or 5 pins that are, stick to a theme of some kind. But if you just want to get a bag of 5 random pins, the blind bag is always up for $8. I think I'm going to keep that. I have that on sale. I will probably keep it just at $8. And like I said, I throw 5 pins in and send those out. I always make sure that you're not going to if you get multiple bags, you won't get any duplicates. I always make sure that you're getting all different pins. There are so many different pins that the Soviet Union put out, man. So it's not hard to find. So we've got these. This is a fun one with some cars and stuff. And then this one, I found a bunch that have the intercontinental missiles and some cannons and stuff. So for you artillery heads out there, I guess. Now, if you go on the site and you see one that you like and it's in stock, buy it, because I only have one of each. So get what you want. If you've got something that you're shopping for, those are all on the shop. If you hover over shop and go down to curated pins, that's where you'll find these. And I'm always uploading. I'm always updating with new stuff. I often will just sit down with all of my pins and just start putting shit together. So I know I've got ones that's 5 bird pins. I've got ones that are just plants. Just any kind of theme I can find, I'll put together. Okay, so some other stickers that we have. The reason I have this Fuck Rhodesia one, for obvious reasons, but anytime, when I was first starting up my online store, I was looking at what do other people charge for patches and pins and things like that, just kind of getting an idea for the market. And a lot of patch companies, people that have, getting online patches made, had a lot of pro-Rhodesia shit. So I had to make something anti-Rhodesia. I don't have this as a patch because there's a lot of fine detail in the middle that I think most of you will appreciate. But this is a sticker. It's about this is a sticker about three inches, about that. Yeah, about that. So all of my stickers are at least 3 inches in not diameters around, but they're at least 3 inches long or tall, one way or the other. And they're vinyl stickers. They're really good. You can stick them on anything. You can put them on your car, and they'll hold up. I experimented with paper stickers, and those are cheap and they'll fall apart, and they're just not worth it. So we've got that. The back the blue one is also a sticker. Like I said, the penny farthing ops. We have a lot of trans-friendly stuff as well. Whenever I'm at a vendor event, and I have these up, I invariably get the question, well, what is that? Well, somebody asked me, what's the background of this design? And I was like, I don't understand what you mean. And she's like, well, she just kept saying, what's the background? I said, look, I have a lot of gun-toting transgender friends. That's what it is. And they wanted to feel represented. So, we have this. We have the Born to Claw, which is the helmet from Full Metal Jacket, but in Catgirl colors. It's Born to Claw. And we have this as a sticker and a patch. I used to have it as a pin. We'll come back around to having it as a pin as well, too, because I know a lot of people do. Oh, I do have it as a button. So it will be up as a button that you can buy. And proceeds to this, I'm always, every month I have a standing donation to Trans Lifeline of $50 a month. And selling these things help fund that to go there. So anytime you're buying from me, you're also helping. I have that going, and specifically these designs for that. So take a look at all those. Finally, what else do I have? Oh, my woodworker's pin. We do have enamel pins. This is also available as a sticker and as a patch. Another very popular design of the Woodworkers Benevolent Union building a guillotine. You know, if you're gonna execute somebody, make sure that it's union friendly, I guess. I don't know. So all of that is down in the store. Like I said, you can get all of it for the order before Friday, order on Friday at the latest, and it will go into the mail on Saturday. Now, like I said, if you do order over the weekend, and you order on Saturday or Sunday, like Saturday evening, Sunday, I will get it into the mail by Monday. I cannot guarantee that it'll get to you by Christmas. It should, though. Like, generally, I haven't had any problems with that. The post office has not been backed up like it was during the COVID years. A couple Christmases in the past has been kind of rough, but everything seems to be really functioning a little bit more smoothly. So, but get those orders in. Remember, you can always take 10% off with the code word technical. That is always a standing one that you can use as many times as you like for as many orders. So get in before Christmas, because that time in between Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to hibernate. So I will still send stuff out. If you still want to order things, that'll be great. But I know that that's kind of going to be for all of us who do shipping. Like, this is the big week, and then after Christmas, we're gonna, you kind of take a breather until January. So hopefully we got some stuff in there that you like. But other than that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you next week.